Or yeah, you could walk into the office and be like, Colonel Yularen, it's
Yeah.
good to see you.
Something, dude. I mean, like, oh my God. It doesn't even have to be words. Literally, all you had to do is pan across and you get this blue face with red eyes. People would lose their shit.
Yep. Yeah. No, it would be very
I'd
interesting to.
puke.
What? Yeah. One. Again, I had speculated. I think I had asked you at one point, like, what do you think about Thrawn showing up? And you were like, doesn't make sense. And I agreed because we agreed that the first book, once I read it, wasn't really in there. Now that Yularen's in play, it changes everything because that's his
Yeah,
boy.
right.
Even if he just goes to him for advice, like,
Yeah.
what would you do in this situation? How would you weed them out? Something along. It doesn't have to be Thrawn taking action. It could
hmm
just be Thrawn advising him. Like, kind of Yularen, you should
Well,
did the
that's the whole
rebels.
thing is welcome to episode 104 of Star Wars in Scotch. I'm your host, Tim, also known as Darkness429 in the gaming space. And alongside me over here, he's over here. It's Kevin, aka K Magic 101, aka Kevin X Vision, aka CEO of Rare Drop.
Good morning.
How are you?
Hello.
It's good.
I'm a little like congested, but
Drainy.
I'm fine otherwise. Yeah, I'm definitely like it's coming out.
That's hot. It's just
Yeah, it's all
Kevin,
coming out.
it's coming out.
Kevin, it's coming out in 2023. It's all coming out.
How's your week so far? It's Wednesday.
Is it?
Yeah,
It
it's
is because we're
Wednesday.
here. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's leg day.
It's moving along. It's moving along. Well, I have to do home workouts so I don't give people COVID scare at the gym. So it's been.
Oh yeah, because you're just like, and you don't want people to think.
Well, yeah, I'll finish a
Yeah.
set at home and then I'm like, "Ah, fuck, fuck," and I don't really want to be that guy
Oh
at the gym.
yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I've been
Nice.
sticking to the home workouts.
Okay.
Today was like more of a full body thing
Hot. Okay.
because it's quick in the morning because of Andor. So
Andor was good, and we'll get to that.
Andor
but
was very good.
Andor was good. I watched Tales of the Jedi. I told the internet that I wasn't gonna watch all of it, but I ended up watching 2 of them. So I watched the first 2 episodes. Ahsoka was episode 1, and Dooku and Qui-Gon were episode 2. And I'm glad that I watched them because they were just like they're easy to watch, but
Very.
very easy to watch. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Kevin, you're sipping on some King's Coast right there, huh?
Yeah, our coffee pot broke last week, so my wife was forced to do pour over
forgot
every
about
morning
that.
right now, and she can't wait for the new coffee pot. But in the meantime, I get delicious pour over every morning, which is kind of awesome.
Well, I showed my my like in my stories yesterday my Gevi. I showed you my automatic pour over.
Yep. Yep.
Oh man, if you want pour over but you don't want to actually do the pour over, that's the way to do it. It's great.
No, we're still doing it DIY with the Chemex.
All right. Well,
Feels natural.
are you sipping on some autumn tides? Some
I am
autumn-
sipping on autumn tides, ironically.
Yes.
And it's
We have so
delicious.
many names. I'm just like, I hope I say it right. Is it fall
No, you
tide?
did.
I really want it to be fall tides.
Well, the problem with fall tides was when we were on the cutting room floor there, we said it sounded too much like Summer's Eve, which is
No, we were gonna do autumn breeze.
Autumn Breeze was the one that sounded too much like a feminine cleaning
it was,
product.
Yeah, it sounded like a feminine cleaning product, and we were like, no,
Yeah.
this is not going to work. But we were so excited about it. I remember naming that. I was like, this is great. This is going to go. And everyone was on board, and then everyone was like, wait. So here we are.
Yeah.
We didn't want our
So-
coffee to sound like something that you keep, use to keep yourself fresh. I mean, like you do use coffee to keep yourself fresh, but it's like more of like in a mental sense.
Yes, yeah.
And-
Well, it offers other health benefits too, the coffee.
Well,
So,
Yeah, I mean, like what kind of health benefits are we talking about?
it's good for your heart and a whole bunch of
Oh,
other
I thought he was
stuff.
okay. I thought we were going to go in the other direction. I was talking about keeping ourselves clean physically. I
Oh,
wasn't
no,
sure
no, no.
where we were going with that.
I mean, in all fairness, coffee cleans me out every morning very nicely.
King's Coast
So-
Coffee. We keep you cleaned out.
Yeah, it's all coming out. It's all coming out.
Just Kevin's theme is just it's all coming out.
It's all coming out. Ironically, I haven't been doing these crazy intense workouts, but I'm still like maintaining my weight because I've been eating well, and when you eat well, you shit well. So it's all coming out.
Yeah, just feel your body with some King's Coast.
Yep, that's
So
what
head
I
on
do.
over to kingscoastcoffee.com. Get yourself some freshly roast to order coffee today.
I will say this: last Friday, I went to an event in Orlando. I did not have time to make pour over in the morning, and Ben and I had to get the other coffee, on the way to the event.
Mm.
Why is it so hard to make an Americano?
I don't understand why it's so difficult to just take a double shot of espresso and then take hot water
Hot
and
water.
pour it in there until
That's
you
it.
get to the dilution that you want. That's all it is. It's literally for people who just don't want to sip on straight espresso. That's it. Or if you just want a really personalized cup of coffee, like that's the greatest thing. Chat, just trust me on this one. If you want a fresh cup of coffee when you go to a diner or anywhere else, order an Americano or just say, I would like a double shot of espresso and a cup of hot water, and you will get a very delicious cup of coffee. Because if you just get, I want a hot coffee, they're going to give you the coffee that they brewed like 4 hours ago. They've been keeping warm. But if you get the espresso, it's fresh. So a little coffee hack from your friends at King's Coast Coffee.
That's it.
Boom.
That's it. Done. Star
Nailed
Wars.
it. Woo!
Awesome.
Star Wars.
What do you want to talk about first?
Oh my God. Okay. Well, let's get Tales of the Jedi out of the way.
Yeah,
Because I feel like Andor is just so good and Tales is cool, but it's just like there's nothing to talk about. It's just quick. It's cute. It's a little way. It's a little fun way to just give our characters that we know and love a little fun backstory.
I mean, Ahsoka's mom is a badass.
Yeah, her mom's a hunter, which I think is neat. It's really cool how they have like this whole way of life. It felt very much so like Native American. It felt like very like old ways of doing things. Like, the baby was a year old. No, it's time. And like their connection with the forest. And it felt like very Dances with Wolves or like Fern Gully. Pocahontas kind of, or just like, respect the land, respect life, thank the animal for giving its life to feed us, and like all this stuff. I thought it was cool. It's neat. And like, it also explains, it doesn't explain, it showcases Ahsoka's connection with animals again. Like that's another thing that we saw in Clone Wars, that she like had this connection with animals. And so like that showcased it there. But like, that was it. Like there was nothing. It was like, Kevin, we got to talk about this.
Yeah. No, I didn't think there was much there. Like Ahsoka can use the Force.
Oh, guys, she's a Jedi. Okay. Spoiler, Ahsoka's a Jedi.
Yeah, that was about it. It was pretty cool. She communed with that tiger saber-tooth thing.
It was cool.
It was great. It was a great watch.
Yeah.
But there's nothing there that I learned besides Ahsoka's mom being an absolute royal badass. That's it.
But we also kind of knew that they had a matriarch old society. Like it was all based off of the female leaders. So like we knew that they had the huntress, right? So like this kind of plays more into the stuff that we have already read in High Republic, which is kind of cool. Like we get to learn more about the Togruta people, and it seems like they are more like connected with nature and across the board. It seems like that's what the Togruta people are more like, which is cool.
I had heard or read somewhere that the way Togruta, I guess, politics or whatever happened politically there changes by the time we get to Ahsoka's birth. So it's not the same type of society that we meet.
Well, remember that they said that that Ahsoka's clan though is very different from normal Togruta. So wonder if they're more of like the old way,
like a fringe hippie commune sort of situation.
I wouldn't call them hippies.
I don't know.
They just seem like they were just more like connected with nature. I wouldn't call that hippie.
That the new book is very hippie commune.
I downloaded it. I have it on my phone. We're working on it.
I mean, it's a short. It's only about a 7-hour book, and
I saw it was 8 hours on Audible, and I was like, oh, this.
I have like 3 hours left. I will say it is a lot of groundwork to establish what's going on. My biggest question right now is we meet who I assume is Markion's mother, grandmother, something.
It would have to be older than mother.
I mean, it depends on their lifespan. I don't know what the Evereni lifespan is. And then her last name is Roe.
Right.
At some point, he has an adopted or surrogate father named Asgar Roe, who's a human, if I remember correctly. So I'm really trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure it out because Marta, when we meet her in this, she's not tethered to anyone. So I mean, you'll find out in the first chapter of the book that she's got the hots for the Jedi that shows up on her planet, who's a Pantoran. So I don't know. It's lots of questions I have so far. And there's a cult. That's about it. Not much meat on the bone on there either. To be completely transparent, I'm just kind of waiting for something to happen. But I only have like 3 hours.
That's how
of book left.
the first set of books was like.
Yeah.
Book 1 was pretty like like okay, cool. Like honestly, the only thing that was really good about book 1 was just the large pieces of rock taking out planets. Like that was kind of fun. Because it's just like, man, they open it up hard with murder.
Yeah, I remember that. And then the second book, the best thing was Geode. So,
well, it wasn't the second book. No, the second book is when they were in the space station.
Into the Dark. That's Geode.
Yeah, but like there was a lot, like the Sith statues and all that stuff. That was really good.
Geode, dude. It's all about Geode.
Come on, whatever.
Geode.
The rock that can somehow move, but we never really see how he moves.
Also, expert navigator. Come on.
Yeah.
He can plot courses all over the galaxy. But yeah, that was Tales of the Jedi. We'll talk about episode 2, maybe 2 and 3 next week, because I have a feeling these episodes are not going to be long conversations, but Tim and I will talk about it. But yeah, it was great if you're a fan. I think younger Star Wars fans will enjoy Tales of the Jedi. I think
very much so.
Super fans will enjoy the backstory. It's not something I'd be like, hey babe, you have to come watch this with me so you can learn more about Ahsoka's birth. She's not going to give a shit.
Yeah.
So I think it's more in that realm. But it was fun to watch. I thought it was cool. Yeah. So
that's it.
Andor.
Yes.
Gollum is in.
Oh my god, dude! Andy Serkis shows up.
I heard his voice and I was like, "That can't be." Is it? He's already.
It's
but
Snoke.
There he is.
It was Snoke. Like that was crazy. I was so happy to see him.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. So not much happened with Cassian in this except I like that they were sending the other prisoners to Belsavis. Did you pick up on that?
No, I'd missed that part.
Yeah, when they were dividing them up between the ships.
Yeah.
They were sending the other prisoners to Belsavis, which I was like, I know that planet. And then
I don't, so tell me about it.
Belsavis is at least in the Old Republic, it's one of the war-torn planets. It's constantly fought over, and it's a prison planet.
It looks a lot like, it's funny. So there's in this Wikipedia entry for Belsavis, it has the same type of like structures in the water that they had for Naraka 5 or whatever that planet was. But yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. I thought that was really cool because that was the first time that we've actually really seen like a prison planet in Star Wars, like cinema, which I thought was really, really neat. Like again, like that's what I love so much about Andor right now is that we're visually getting to see a lot of these things on the screen that we know about, that we know it's going on. So to be put on this prison planet at this manufacturing plant, I would love to know what they're putting together. Whatever these assemblies are, I couldn't figure it out. I was trying the entire time trying to figure out like what that star-shaped metal thing was that they were
drone,
putting together.
Could be parts to like
something
walker.
like an AT-AT like part. Yeah. I really wanted it to be like a component to like a foot. But like if you really think about it, like some of the larger machines, like that could just be like a gear assembly for like a transmission. You know, like it's wild.
Back to Belsavis real quick. I want to tell you this because you'll think this is cool. So it is an ice planet, but it has these like biomes. Those are the circles on it.
Yeah.
And these are like tropical biomes scattered.
Oh,
and
that's sick. Okay, so
those are the prisons.
That's what these are. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, those are the prisons. So I just thought that was cool.
Cool.
Yeah. So they were, it felt like parts to something bigger or, I'm not really sure, but, they're feeding the war machine or the war machine that's prepping to do some serious damage. Okay, did you understand the shoe, foot, shock, heat thing?
Yeah, what about it?
I don't understand, like, are they just wearing those boots so that nothing will happen to them and they've, like, electrified the floor? Or is it something in the environment?
So it's super smart. And I was like, man, the Empire's got this shit down. So you keep the tensions low. Well, I mean, visually, you keep tensions low by having guards that don't have any guns or they don't look very temperamental. They can just like hurt you.
Yeah,
But
he said that.
at any moment, this electrified tungsten floor or what do you, tungstanium floor will turn on because it's all metal. It's a metal floor that has power, that has a current running through it, and they just up the voltage. And all of those guards are wearing big ass rubber shoes. And so that's it. Like the entire facility is electrified on the floor. That's why they're always barefoot. And so like that was really interesting to me. It was like you just threatened to shock the shit out of them.
And then their boots, just nothing will happen to them because they're
they're grounded with the rubber. But it's better than a shock collar. You have no restraints on your prisoners. But at any moment they could get the ever living shit shocked out of them. It is awesome. And did you see how like they're in their prison bunks and there's no doors, there's no bars, there's nothing but an electrified floor.
Yeah, that one guy
got
dead.
Killed. Oh, that guy's dead. Yeah, he sat there on that floor. His heart stopped.
So did he go crazy and commit suicide? Was that what
I think so. I think that's what happened. I think he just himself.
Okay.
Yeah, he unalived is the official that's how people get around the TikTok algorithm is they don't say the D word, they just say unalived.
I wasn't sure if I was overthinking it, and I thought that was the case, but I don't know. For some reason I was like, is there some sort of
No, as soon as I saw the big shoes on the guards, I was like, oh, this floor's electrified. And then he just cranked it up and you just watch them just contort, and it was crazy. It was ingenious. It was like, and that's the worst part is I watched that. I was like, that's so smart. Like, that's just so smart. And I hated that I was agreeing with it. I was like, I was just like, it's just the perfect evil thing to do.
Level 1 of 3.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, what, like level 3 stops your heart for sure. Level 2 makes you drool and shit yourself. I'm like, that's how they gauge it.
And then their incentive to be the best is that you get taste in your food.
Yeah, you get,
That's so dark.
Well, did you see how they were like, you can have as much as you want, you just suck it out of the wall? Like, that's
they want you to be healthy.
Holy crap, though! Like, could you imagine just sucking all your calories through a straw out the wall? Like, ugh.
But he seemed to put it on a plate too, because when it said like day 30, he was eating it with a spoon as well.
Well, because he learned to love it.
Yeah.
But you see how efficient he's getting with building those assemblies too. I think what's going to happen is he's already figuring out what he can do to get out. Because you could see how he was walking around and he was learning everything. And so like I think that was them trying to showcase Cassian's ability to learn things very quickly. And I think he's already worked out in his head how he is going to get out.
Yeah, I agree. Because we haven't seen him in that Imperial officer's uniform that we saw him in the trailer yet. We've only seen him dressed as a soldier.
Right.
So this could be the instance where he somehow infiltrates the system, and he's 30 days in now, so he's probably learned even more. And little hints like, they don't pay attention unless production is down and things like that. So
I think he knows that he's got to get Andy's character out of the way because that guy was like, I've got 256 days left. Don't fuck this up for me.
Yeah.
So,
and he will.
Yeah, most definitely. But I think what happened is like Cassian's going to get him out of the way.
Yeah.
And then that's how he's going to be able to move along.
I think Cassian's also trying to size up who would be interested.
Oh, for sure.
Helping.
Most definitely. Yeah.
Because that one guy with the red hair seems like he would be the next.
There's some rebellious people in that group for sure.
Yeah.
The what was the other thing that I thought was really interesting with that? Oh, damn. Go ahead, Kevin. It'll come back to me. I had it and then it was gone.
No, and then we went back to Cassian's home planet, and you could see the grip of the Empire.
Oh my God, the ISB stuff is just getting really, really good. Like the entire, like I didn't know how the whole investigation was gonna go, or when she was interrogating the guy from Marlana, the inspector. What's his name? I forget his name. He hasn't become a very memorable character for me yet.
I have all their names up. Hold on, I'll get it.
Oh man, Karn. I didn't know how that was going to go. And I loved how he just like openly admitted that he had made 6 false inquiries for Cassian. And so it's just like, I really thought that was going to be his moment. I really thought that he was going to get like recruited in the ISB or he's going to become an informant of some sort. And she just looks at him. She's like, just forget about it. Stop, or you're going to get arrested.
Like, I'll tell your boss you did a good job, but this is the end of it.
Yeah.
Move on. He won't, obviously.
But she's going in hard, dude. When Wolf was reading off like her entire wish list of everything that she wanted, like, holy crap, she wants essentially like a small army.
She gets so close to being insubordinate, but then they realize what she's saying makes sense. Like when she said it's cheaper than the equipment they're stealing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he like gave her like this, not side eye, but he looked up at her like,
yeah,
that was
like,
that was
right.
out of line, but you're right.
Yeah, but now we know where all those weapons that they've been losing and all the technology where it's going.
Yep,
it's going directly to Saw. Luthen's been ripping it all apart and sending it off to Saw.
Well, Luthen seems like he's trying to unite all of the rebel
Luthen's
factions.
trying to build a rebellion,
right?
And Saw is just a guerrilla fighter. Saw is just an anarchist.
Which we knew already.
Yeah, most definitely. We knew that in Rogue One. We learned just how chaotic he is.
And Clone Wars.
And Clone Wars, and we learned a little bit about it in Jedi Fallen Order. But like this is cool. Like this is probably the most. No, that's not true. This is. Saw hasn't looked this good in a while, I guess, and I thought that was really interesting. Like it's weird not seeing him like half robotic yet. Like he's got like the robot arms on, and like that he looks like Jax from Mortal Kombat right now, and like that's it. It's when we see him in Clone Wars, he's just a man. Like he's just like no cybernetic implants yet. He's just a guerrilla fighter. He just like he's ready to kick some ass. And so it's like it's really cool to see the progression that we've gotten of Saw Gerrera throughout different forms of the Star Wars medium. You know, we see it in Clone Wars, we get him in a video game, we get him in live action. It's cool.
Yeah, no, it's been fun to see his character develop, and now we're gonna get a whole new piece of the puzzle, if you will. I think this might be one of the more important pieces of the puzzle because this is so early in the rebellion, and we just
I forgot in Rebels he takes them hostage. I totally forgot about that. When they're on Geonosis, he takes Ezra hostage. I totally forgot about that.
He's in
wild.
Almost everything, if you think about it.
He's like, all we need is Hondo.
A live action Hondo?
That's all we need. And
there's one at Disney World.
I know, but like that's what I'm saying. Like he's got to show. I think it would be perfect for him to show up in the Ahsoka show. Like I think that would work out really, really well.
You don't want to see him in this? Like, Luthen, good to see you, my old friend.
Oh, fuck, yes, I do. I mean, like, you're right. I mean, like, it would make sense for, like, pirates and, like, crime and stuff that fits really well into Andor. I just really love the lens that this is shot through. Like, it's just, like, this is the perfect, dark, adult Star Wars show. And, like, I'm watching this episode today, and it was the part when he was in the, what was he? Oh, when the guy was signing to the other guy across the tube, and they were just like commuting to each other. I just looked at this like this is like the perfect adult Star Wars show, and I can't figure out why people are shitting on it. It's like I don't
really see people shitting on it as much as I see people not paying attention to it. That's what I think is the issue.
That's the problem, though, is like the people who are writing the articles about it are saying how people aren't talking about it. Therefore, I would take that as negative press. I would say like they're shitting on the fact that the performance of Andor is low compared to other things. But at the same time, this is probably one of the best live action Star Wars shows that we've gotten so far. Like, oh my God! Like if you want that adult Star Wars tone, and you want to feel like this is like you're just everything that you've wanted to see in Star Wars, like all those behind the scenes, like it's happening, but you don't get to see it, and you're like, oh, I wish we could just a little bit more time. This is it. Like this is all of the stuff that you've wanted to see. If you're like really into that stuff of Star Wars, and I think that's the problem again, is like it's so niche. But I feel like they're getting away from like the nicher things, and it's really starting to just be like this flushed out show that like anyone could really pick up and appreciate.
Yeah, there's definitely I'm gonna say a shift. And with some of the other news that came out, you're starting to realize where their priorities are at. They announced the Damon Lindeloff movie, which we'll talk about in a little while. But I hope, my worry is because of the way the reaction to Andor is right now, and I still believe that people will watch it over Thanksgiving break, they'll watch it over Christmas break, and the media won't care anymore. But the fandom will be like, oh, that was a great show, but then I don't want them to. Obviously, they're going to make another season, but I don't want them to shy away from making other shows in this vein because of the reaction. There's also probably a level of, I don't want to say fatigue, because Marvel can pop out a show every few months and nobody cares. But I think, Mandalorian was a smashing success. Obi-Wan did very well for them. I don't want to hear like, oh, we put out too many Star Wars shows, and then I look at Marvel. I'm like, Marvel's putting out a show every few months. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So, but Marvel's also put out 3-4 movies a year too. So I don't know what the deal is with Star Wars. I read something that said, like Marvel's doing all of it, and Star Wars is kind of lagging in the movie department right now.
Mm-hmm.
Then the announcement of the Damon Lindeloff stuff came out. So I don't know. I don't know what the plan is there. I keep thinking I do, and then I keep getting thrown off, and I don't want the reception to Andor at release to affect them making more live action television shows. That's my only worry in all of this.
I don't think they're gonna. Or at least I don't want to say it. I don't think. I hope that they don't use the metrics for Andor as the divining rod. Like I don't think that's fair. Like I think Obi-Wan is a better showcase of fandom being attached to certain stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just the issue that Star Wars has. Whereas with Marvel, they make it so like anyone can watch it. Like Amy and I watched through She-Hulk, and like she has no understanding of half of these characters. Daredevil shows up halfway through. She's like we watched. The only way that she would have known about Daredevil is if we would have watched the Netflix stuff like a couple of years ago. And it's just like there's just things that if it wasn't for that, she wouldn't know going forward. And like I feel like that's where we find ourselves right now in Star Wars, is that they're trying to bring a lot of new people in, and they're trying to do it in ways, and then they're still trying to like introduce all of the really cool stuff that all of the other Star Wars fans want. And I think they're trying to figure out ways to collect new viewership, because you're right, because I think Marvel is kind of like cannibalizing that sector when it comes to like Disney Plus. It's just there's a lot more of it. And there's so many different ways to digest. Like we finished She-Hulk. We went and when we started watching Miss Marvel, and so like, and those are two very different shows. They're shot in two different ways. Their lengths are completely different. She-Hulk's 26 minutes long. A Miss Marvel show's 45 minutes long. But like it is, and that's crazy. It's like Miss Marvel is getting more time than She-Hulk, and I thought She-Hulk was a really fun show. But they shot She-Hulk in a way where she could transcend the fourth wall.
Right.
She breaks the fourth wall and she talks to the audience, and she at one point she busts through Disney Plus interface and like hops into a different show. You can't do that in Star Wars, but somehow you can do that in Marvel, and nobody is pissed off about it.
And the fight for
weird.
nerd attention is ramping up.
Almost definitely. You've got Game of Thrones. You got Witcher.
Game of Thrones is back.
Yeah, right. It's back.
They're back.
And then you get all of the nerds that played or read the books for Witcher.
Yep.
What else is going? And then you're getting other Marvel offshoots like Sandman,
Rings of Power, and then
Rings
there's
of
an
Power on
animated.
Amazon.
There's an animated movie about the War of the Rohirrim coming out as well.
And then you've also got your DC animated stuff,
which they just announced yesterday that James Gunn is going to be now in charge of DC, which is huge for them.
Yeah.
Humongous. So, I mean, DC's now probably, again, I see people like, oh, the executives won't let him do what he wants to do. I was like, the guy has 4 of the most successful superhero movies ever. 3 hasn't come out yet. I'm assuming Guardians 3 is a good movie.
Yeah.
And the Kevin Bacon being MCU canon now. I think that they're like, look, we can't do this. We're just like, they're going to Kevin Feige it and be like, take it, run with it, and make it what it was supposed to be originally.
Oh my God. Do you care about She-Hulk spoilers?
Not really.
Like the finale was a while ago. Okay. So real quick, I'll give everybody like a second or two to mute it. Okay. So the finale for She-Hulk, she wants to go talk to Kevin. She says, I want to talk
breaking the fourth wall.
I want to talk to Kevin. Yeah, because she didn't like her ending for her finale. She's like, this is shit. I want to change it. So she's like, she goes to Marvel. She's like, she goes to the writer. She's like, who do I need to talk to? I'm like, you have to talk to Kevin, but no one can talk to Kevin. And in my head, she's like, oh, Kevin. I was like, oh, Kevin Feige. Okay, cool. She gets to Kevin's office. It's a fucking robot. Kevin's an AI. And so like, that's how they've been pumping out shows, is that Kevin is actually just an AI. And so like, I thought you would appreciate that, is that's how Marvel's been able to pump it all out.
Which makes sense now with why your chat was saying I was a AI the other day and I don't.
He doesn't poop. Yep.
Yeah. Now it all comes together. So yeah, I mean, with James Gunn in charge of DC, it's going to be a game changer. Matt Reeves is in charge of Gothamverse under them. Henry Cavill's agreed.
Apparently, The Rock crushed it with Black Adam.
Well, the Black Adam had the same thing that Suicide Squad and Joker had, where the media hated it and the viewer reception is through the roof.
But I'll trust the viewer response
always
over the reviews any day.
Although I hated Joker, like hated that movie. I thought it was one of the worst movies
that was a very polarized opinion on that show. It was either you loved it or you hated it.
Yeah, I thought it was.
I didn't watch it. I knew that wasn't a movie for me, so I knew that I just didn't need to go watch it.
We went to the movies and I had my jacket on, and if you've seen the movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I had my jacket on because it was chilly that day. I remember. In the talk show scene at the end, and you said you didn't see it. Do you mind if I say?
Oh, go for it. I probably will not watch it.
Spoilers. And I said, in the end, I had my jacket on. I was at the edge of the seat like this, looking at the two people I came with, and I was like, he's going to shoot him. Can we leave? Because this movie has been absolutely atrocious. And they're laughing because everyone thinks like, oh, Kevin, Batman, he's going to love this movie. I fucking hated that movie. I got ripped apart because I went on Twitter.
I
said, Joaquin Phoenix delivered a phenomenal performance. That was one of those poorly written superhero movies I have ever watched in my entire life. And all of these people came for me. I got called a white supremacist at one point for saying that. I still can't figure that one out. So yeah, no clue. So yeah, it made me hate the movie even more. So when they announced Joker 2 and they're like, oh, it's going to be a musical and Lady Gaga's going to be Harley Quinn, I was like, gag me with the spoon. And then this morning I read James Gunn has already said that Joker 2 and Joker will exist outside of the DCEU. And I was like, thank you, baby
he knows
Jesus.
what he's doing. Good for him.
There was a Reddit thing that said one of the most genius things, we'll get back to Star Wars in a second, that I thought, and was that at the end of Joker 2, it should be Matt Reeves' Joker, the one we got the preview of in the Batman, sitting in Arkham, laughing in like his straitjacket, like,
He just comes out of his head.
It's all in his head because one of the most famous lines of Joker is, if I have a past, I prefer it to be multiple choice.
Yeah.
So I think that would have been like genius to just bring it all around and make it canon, if you will. But obviously they won't do that.
That would be really fun though. That's that's a great way to close up that loop.
He's in an asylum at the end of the first movie, and everyone's saying like, was it all in his head?
Yeah.
Like, so it was fun in that aspect. And if it was a daydream, I wouldn't care about the movie anymore.
Yeah.
It was just the character framing, and I don't know. I hated it. Anyway, so you have all of these choices now. Like the menu is just gotten a little bit bigger for nerds, and obviously you can do what Tim and I do, which is consume it all. But not everyone does that.
It's so hard.
Not everyone does that. I can't keep up with Marvel. Like I'm still on Moon Knight because I stopped to watch Halloween shit. Which Midnight Mass is fantastic. I got one episode.
I need to watch that. You were saying over the weekend it was really good.
It's so good. And then on the funny side, I started watching What We Do in the Shadows because Danielle hadn't seen it.
That's a fun show.
That show's hysterical. So the menu's out there and you have all these choices, and I think Andor is a combination of I'll watch it during Thanksgiving, I'll watch it during Christmas, and Rings of Power, Game of Thrones, and like we said on the last episode, it comes out on Wednesday. Dude, when it hits the weekend,
dude.
It's not, if I'm not me, I don't host this show and I'm just Kevin, I'm like, I'll watch it over Thanksgiving break because on Friday I watch Rings of Power. Saturday I'm usually out with the family, and Sunday is House of the Dragon. So that would, I guarantee you, I would venture to guess that Andor's viewership will go up over the next 2 months.
Probably. Yeah. I'm curious to see because like I haven't tweeted a lot about Andor, so I'm curious to see if people will start interacting more with like Andor tweets. Because I haven't seen anybody talk about it. Like everything's
No.
been like you said, it's been like Game of Thrones. It was Lord of the Rings. But now those two shows have come to an end. So it would be very interesting to see what happens next.
Yeah, I mean, we have the usual folks that talk to us about Star Wars stuff that have talked to us about Andor. I haven't seen any new faces coming to us and being like, hey, it wasn't
Yeah.
like with Obi-Wan where all these new people were all of a sudden talking to us about Obi-Wan. This is just the regular crew, which is fine.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. I love talking Star Wars with you all, but at the end of the day, I just think it's bad timing, and you'll see that it'll go over well in the next few months. People will be like, just finished Andor, what a great show, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You'll start to see on social media. So I don't blame Disney outside of the fact that it was poor timing. But at the same time, when you're putting a show into development and putting a release date on it and whatnot, I don't know if you know that two of the other biggest IPs in nerddom are going to be putting out a show at the same time as you.
Yeah.
Because I doubt if they all knew this, they all
They
would have
probably don't
launched.
talk.
No, they're competitors, and the
Yeah.
platforms are competitors. And by the time they find out, I'm sure they find out before the public, but all the marketing stuff is done, whatnot. Even pushing it back 2 weeks, Disney, made quite the stir. And they
Yeah.
had to add that third episode to finish it, I think, to finish it before Thanksgiving. So, we'll see. We'll see. It's a very good show, but I think it just doesn't tick all of the levers that make it an immediate watch.
Man, but this episode was so damn good.
It really was.
very, very, very pleased with this episode. And the way that they kind of like the way that they're ramping it up with the ISB, I really like, because it just shows just like how much of a chokehold they have on these like outer rim planets. They don't have the ability to like really protect themselves or like really stand up to an Imperial presence. Like that's really, really interesting to me. Because you couldn't do that stuff to like a core world.
No. Good old Wolf Yularen.
I like that he's like his character is more of just presence than anything else. Him just being in the room is enough for me.
The internet has said that now that Wolf Yularen is in play, the idea of Thrawn showing up in Andor, even if just briefly,
I
is
know.
now very high
I know.
to introduce the actor, the character, and everything before Ahsoka.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, where we find ourselves is right in the prime time of book 1 for Thrawn. Like
Because Thrawn and Yularen are buddy.
they are very, very close to each other. And in book 1, like they have adventures together where he's like trying to hunt down people that are dirty in Coruscant. And so it's just like, it's all lining up, and I'm so excited. And the thought of seeing Thrawn just for a second, or to have a bit of dialogue, it would I would be so surprised if it didn't happen. Like it is the perfect time to drop him. We already know that that the actor's there. We know that Ahsoka's wrapping up in their filming. Like, why wouldn't you? It'd be perfect.
Hear me out. Last episode, because we know we're getting another season. Cassian's escaped. He's causing trouble. They can't figure out who Luthien is because he has a code name. I forget what the code name was.
Axis.
Steps into the Grand Admiral's office and says, how nice to see you. I need your help with this. You have a way, of going about things that, most people in the Empire don't.
Is hunting Luthien.
And it's literally like one of these like things where he's just sitting at his desk and the camera pans over and he's like, tell me more. And then it's like credits. That could even be a post-credit scene.
Yeah, I mean, like having Thrawn getting called in, I mean, it would all depend on like where he's at. So I don't think he's at a commander level yet.
He's a lieutenant probably, if this is early in book 1.
That's the whole thing, is I don't know where this falls, because he gets put under people's command for a little bit, and he makes a lot of fuss because he you read the book. So Thrawn's making a lot of fuss in the Empire, in the Navy, and so but he keeps on doing a really good job, and so they have to promote him, and they end up promoting him because they're tired of his bullshit. And they're like, if we just promote him, then we'll put him up on a pedestal that's too high for him, and he'll fall.
Yeah.
Problem is he keeps on surviving, and he keeps on doing a really good job. So yeah, I mean, like if we got like a Lieutenant Thrawn, getting called into Yularen's office, like he already was stopping pirates. He was already hunting down the spice runners. So yeah, I mean, like that's a really, really interesting thought, Kevin.
Or you could walk into the office and be like, Colonel Yularen, it's good to see you.
Something, dude. I mean, like, oh my God, it doesn't even have to be words. Literally, all you had to do is pan across, and you get this blue face with red eyes. People would lose their shit.
Yep. Yeah. No, it would be very interesting.
I'd puke.
I had speculated. I think I had asked you at one point, like, what do you think about Thrawn showing up? And you were like, doesn't make sense. And I agreed because we agreed that the first book, once I read it, wasn't really in there. Now that Yularen's in play, it changes everything because that's his boy.
Right.
Even if he just goes to him for advice,
Yeah.
like, what would you do in this situation? How would you weed them out? Something along. It doesn't have to be Thrawn taking action. It could just be Thrawn advising him. Like, Colonel Yularen, you should have did the rebels.
Yeah, because he's just gonna feed him information. Oh God, that's gonna be so good.
I know it's a possibility. I would see it as a post-credit scene. I don't think it would be in the show. Yes, they do. They did it for Book of Mandalorian season 2. That's how they introduced Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
Is that the only post-credit one they've done?
I don't know, Paul. Could you look that up? See if there was anything else besides that. But that's how they introduced. They said Book of Boba Fett coming December 2021.
Damn. I don't want it to be a post-credit though. I want it to be a part of the show.
Nah, they would make that a post-credit.
Why not? It would flow so well.
That's an Easter egg for like you and me.
No.
And it would say like Ahsoka coming, December 2023 or something. Watch Commander Thrawn.
Yeah, if they use Thrawn the way they did Ahsoka in Mando for this show.
I mean, that's their MO. This is what they love to do.
Yeah.
They love to do this.
But could you imagine if he had a whole episode? Just think about it, Kevin. What if Thrawn, like the whole episode is about Thrawn starting to hunt down Cassian? We find out that whole part in Rogue One, he was also hunting after Cassian. Him and Vader are boys.
Kenobi had Obi-Wan as post-credits. What was Book of Boba's post-credits scene? The back to tank. Who was in the back to tank? Oh, it was the sheriff was in the back to tank.
Oh, they all had post-credit scenes. I guess it's been a while, Kevin.
Yeah.
What was Kenobi's post-credit scene?
It was Qui-Gon.
It wasn't post-credit.
Yes, it was.
That was leading up to it. That's how it ended.
That was post. I could swear that was post-credit.
No, that was like he goes up to Luke and everything, and then he rides off, and Qui-Gon's there. That wasn't a post-credit.
Paul confirmed that because he put Kenobi in there. So
yeah, but I don't know what. Now I feel like I've missed out on whatever the post-credit scene was.
Well, if you saw Qui-Gon, that was all I saw. I always check, no matter what show. Literally,
because he rides off into the sunset, and then it's credits.
Literally, they had to kick me out of the movie theater for the Batman. They came over to us.
I love waiting for end credits.
They were like, just so you know, it's just a question mark, and it says something like, "Will you be back? Will he be back?" or something. Okay, that episode had post credits. Paul's saying it was post credit.
I don't know, but not the final episode. It wasn't the final episode.
Oh, so it was a different one? Which one?
Well, now I need to go back and look. I will report back on the end credit scenes if I've seen them all then.
I feel like if we missed the post-credit scene, we would have gotten basted by the internet.
No, I found it on YouTube. There's nothing there.
Colonel Yularen.
I don't know. Anyways, Kevin.
What if it's Mark Thompson playing?
It's not Mark Thompson. We know it's not. It's Lars Mikkelsen.
I really hope so. That would just make my year.
But it is.
If you show me Lars Mikkelsen as Grand Admiral Thrawn before Thanksgiving, and you just announced that James Gunn is in charge of DC, I am the happiest. And HBO is apparently committing to 5 seasons of House of the Dragon. Like,
I wonder.
Go back. Go back to when we were kids. Hop in a DeLorean. Tell little Timmy and little Kevin, like all of your wildest nerd dreams are going to be played out in live action on television weekly for you to watch.
I wouldn't care.
Because our parents' version of Marvel superheroes was those crazy. Remember those old like Captain America and Lou Ferrigno's the Hulk?
But that shit was really cool. Like playing with like our Star Wars toys and like making up like our own thing. Like I don't know, dude. The '90s were pretty awesome. I don't know if like
you a big
7-year-old
fan of the
me would care.
Ewoks show? The cartoons that was a complete ripoff of Gummy Bears.
No, I don't think I saw that one.
Oh, it's on Disney Plus if you want to show.
I'll have to go watch it. Everything's on Disney Plus.
Well, there's a whole like Legends section now that has all the old.
We should do an annual watching of the Star Wars Christmas episode. And drink.
You gonna make me watch that shit once a year?
We should do that as an annual watching, and then we drink the whole time.
I will. Yeah, I will need a drink to get through that.
Yeah, we'll need alcohol for sure.
I don't know. I don't know if you remember how brutal that is.
We could Mystery Science Theater 3000 this.
The best, that one might have to be it, because the best thing we ever got from that was that meme of
Baby
Chewie's
Wookiee.
kid that's like
Yeah, with the hair.
creepiest thing on the planet. Anyway, so Andor, episode 9. How many episodes do we have left? We have 4 episodes left, right? 9, 10, 11, 12. Cool.
Honest to God, I thought we were done last week. I
thought
thought
it
that
was
was
only
good.
8? No,
I was waiting for it. I was like, oh, this is a great way to end it. Cassian gets to go to space Florida, and then he gets arrested. I'm like, oh, we're not done yet.
It's a 24 episode show. 2 seasons, 12 episodes.
I forgot that we get 12 episodes.
You really thought I was going to have a happy ending with him going to Star Wars
Everybody
Florida?
was. We were in season finale week. Everybody had a season finale, so I just assumed Cassian was getting one too. This is what happens. This is what happens when there's too much stuff to watch.
Oh,
the problem is that we spent the entire pandemic bitching about how there was nothing to watch except Tiger King.
Because we watched everything.
Because we watched everything.
And then Tiger King season 2 was just trash. God, that was the pinnacle.
I never
of
watched it.
Television.
Did
Tiger
not
King
watch
season 1.
No, I didn't watch season 2. I watched season.
Oh,
1.
it's
Please,
no,
Kevin.
do not watch season 2. It's just not worth your time. I was gonna say, Carol's
You cannot
down the
live in
road.
Tampa and not watch Tiger King.
Carol's right. I was at the mall. They got a big cat rescue kiosk at the not International, the other mall,
Citrus Park. They have the virtual walk-in tour.
Yeah, no employees because they don't want
No.
people going in there and harassing them. Also, you can't go to get Big Cat Rescue. They closed it.
It's closed.
Yeah, you can't go
Unless
anymore.
you're like
You used
really
to be able
good
to
friends
visit
with
it.
Carol, or you want to volunteer.
I mean, I feel like if I was, might have end up dead if I was really good friends with Carol.
Oh, buried underneath the septic tank.
Carol Baskin killed her husband, whacked him. So Damon, it was announced this week that Damon Lindeloff is writing a Star Wars movie.
Which I think is hilarious because we talked about this news a few months ago and you were pissed.
All right, I'll go back and we'll talk about that. So the co-writer on is Justin Britt Gibson, and then Charmin Obaid. I'm so sorry, I'm butchering this. Shinoy is looking to be the director. She directed Miss Marvel. So that's Damon Lindelof's crew. Justin was a writer for The Strain, Into the Badlands, and Counterpart. That's a lot of like R-rated horror stuff, Tim, which should excite you a bit.
I love horror movies.
Secret Writers Room, Patrick Somerville from The Leftovers, Station 11, Raina McClendon from Briar Patch, The Walking Dead, World Beyond, and Willow, the Disney Plus series,
Yeah.
and Andy Greenwald, who's also from Briar Patch, and then it was also believed that Dave Filoni was in that Secret Writers Room.
Wow.
So here's my thing with Damon Lindelof. Lost, if you remember Lost, I came in like the beginning of season 2. No, before season 2, King's Coast Pete was like, you got to see the show, brought the DVDs. We plowed through season 1. And then we were literally at the point where we were having Wednesday night watch parties with all of our friends,
Oh, that's awesome.
going to somebody's house and watching the new episodes of Lost. That's how into Lost we are. At the beginning of Lost, it was J.J. Abrams' show, and J.J. Abrams said there's a scientific explanation for everything that happens on the show. Damon Lindelof took over because J.J. Abrams left to go do Star Trek. Which that's JJ's biggest problem is he gets a new project and doesn't want to finish the one he was working on.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why Benioff and Weiss ruined the last season of Game of Thrones because they wanted to work on their Star Wars project that Disney saw the last season of Game of Thrones and was like, yeah, we're not going to move forward with this. So they actually screwed themselves, which I still find hilarious.
How do you do that?
Lost was ruined by the last season. They had some bullshit Unitarian ending. The science was never explained. Hated Damon Lindelof. I remember I'd argue with my chat because they'd be like, he directed this. I was like, no, that guy can go to fucking hell and, you know, all that stuff. I watched Watchmen on HBO and I loved it. I know Alan Moore doesn't like it, but I liked it. I liked it a lot, actually. Damon Lindelof is the showrunner for Watchmen. So now I'm torn.
Mm-hmm.
Because I really liked Watchmen. I loved Lost, but I hated it by the end.
Sure.
And now he's in my pond.
He's in your fandom.
I don't want to be that toxic fandom asshole guy, but at the same time,
you have an expectation set already with this guy because of
I don't trust this man.
Sure,
that's my problem. But he is writing it from scratch, and he did a really good job with Watchmen on that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he went to Alan Moore, who originally wrote Watchmen, he was like, hey, I'm making this. I know you don't like when people make adaptations to your comic book, but I'm making this. And Alan Moore literally told him, don't ever speak to me again. I'm not interested.
Wow.
Yeah. Alan Moore's, he did V for Vendetta, too. He's a very
V for Vendetta was fantastic. That was
He's a very eccentric human being. That's the best way I can put it. Anyway, so I don't know how I feel about this. I have mixed feelings. I'm very reserved when it comes to him. I don't trust him that much.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about this, to be honest. This movie will take place after Rise of Skywalker, so it's going to be.
I thought we weren't going to do anything after. I thought we were.
Do they ever stick to what they say?
Okay. So I'm totally fine with an after Episode 9 show as long as it's not a part of the Skywalker saga. This
is a movie.
Yeah, no, I get that. As long as whatever this is, it's not going to be Star Wars Episode 10. As long as this is a blah, 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 a Star Wars movie, totally down. But I swear to God, if this is Episode 10, I'm done. I can't. Because they promised that they were going to be done with the Skywalker saga as far as cinema goes. So I really, 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 really hope that this isn't like some type of like trying to give Rey a better story or something so that they can sell her off better when it comes to merchandise and whatnot. That's my fear.
I don't know. I don't even know if it's going to involve Rey, to be honest.
But that's the whole thing is if we get like how they did it in Visions, where they gave us that like it's been 200 years since the Jedi, and like they're trying to reestablish the order and like all this stuff, or they've only heard whispers, like stuff like that. That's dope. That's really cool, and I want that kind of Star Wars tale. If it's going to be something that's after Episode 9,
I wonder if they're going to start taking some of the Legends post Episode 6 stuff and introducing it as post Episode 9.
But that's all Skywalker saga stuff, isn't it?
There are Skywalkers in it, but there's characters like Darth Krayt you could bring in, and other ones like that existed. Like, I want to say Paul could probably give a better timeline. He knows a little bit more about that than I do, but like a couple, I don't want to say 100 years, less than that after Episode 6 in the original Legends timeline, you could start introducing them post Episode 9, because it's only supposed to be 30, 40 years after. So yeah, so it's a whole universe. It could be anything. They're finding ways to introduce Sith into the timeline without breaking the rule of two. I was thinking the other day too, like you can not break the rule of two and have another master and apprentice who are like, no, I'm the true Sith.
Yeah, for sure. There could be power struggles, most definitely.
So, I mean, it's not this foreign concept to say there's 4 Sith in the galaxy. There's 6.
Well, yeah, the galaxy's massive. So for them to all know what everybody's doing, like you have some Sith that aren't really like innately evil either, so they don't have these ideologies of conquest and ruling over people. They just see the dark side of the Force as just a better way of doing things. But they still go on to live a very happy and wholesome life, and they're fine. So I mean, like those individuals also exist in the fandom at the same time.
So we'll see. I'm not really sure. We'll wait for more details. I think it's a 2025 movie anyway. I think that's the 2025 movie on the thing we went over, the schedule we went over the other
Yeah.
day.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see where
And then we
where it
also
lands.
have the who's the other person that's got a Star Wars movie coming? Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi has one, and Rian Johnson says his is in development as well.
Interesting. So, but Taika's this is not going to be Taika's movie. Like, that's going to be something else entirely because he's
Taika's
writing
movie. Yeah,
Is he writing it?
they're two different movies.
Right. Okay. I just was double checking because I think at one point we thought the 2025 movie was going to be Taika's movie.
Mm-mm.
Have they announced when his movie is going to be?
Mm-mm.
We have a name for it though, right?
Mm-mm. There's no names for anything except
There's a
Rogue
project
Squadron.
name.
I'm sure it's a project name, but that's rarely.
Interesting.
It's usually made up to throw people off the.
And we know that it's going to be more like adult-ish or teen.
He said it was going to be like not your normal Star Wars movie. Was kind of the way he described it, which
We
from
assume
him I
that-
believe.
My assumption would just be more kind of in line with his overall tone of.
I haven't seen Love and Thunder. Did you like it?
I did like it. I liked it a lot. I think the way that people had it was funny. My mom came over the other day and she brought that up. She was like, I didn't like Love and Thunder. I'm like, well, why? What happened? She's like, I didn't like how it was like all crazy and was being told from like the Rock's perspective. And I was like, but like, that's what's so fun about that character is that he like over embellishes and like he just like makes it kind of goofy and off the wall because he's trying to tell it the best way that he can understand the situation. And so it's like, I think that's where people had a hard time understanding what was going on and like why things felt so oddly paced compared to other movies is because of how the narration was being done. And I thought it was fun. I really enjoyed it.
Oi, piss off, Ghost.
Hey, I'm Croc. I'm a rock. He's a
That's
great
Mike.
character.
That's Mike from Old Fashioned's favorite Marvel character.
I'm a rock.
That's why his handle is Piss Off Ghost.
Piss off, Ghost.
Piss off, Ghost. Yeah. So I mean, we'll see. There's stuff on
I
the
don't
horizon.
have a lot to say about this guy in particular because I didn't watch Lost.
The only thing I'm concerned with at this point is there's just no talk of Old Republic still. I just don't know what they're doing there because at some point your fandom's gonna get too old to give a shit.
Yeah. They haven't said
I don't want to
anything
be
about this video
60
game
and they're
either.
like, "Oh, Revan's coming back! I'm so excited!"
No, we know this video game's not in video game hell anymore, or in limbo now. It's gonna happen.
It's just moved to a new studio, and
But that's
that
the whole
worries me.
problem is that we haven't seen anything, and so we don't have another
even-
opportunity for.
Even on the side of the movies and television shows, like an animated series, come on, like
Yeah,
something.
I agree. Yeah, but that whole era started with the video game, and so I feel like that's what they're trying to do is they're trying to stay. Either they're trying to lean too hard into nostalgia, which is I think that's been something that I've been looking at lately is how much nostalgia companies are leaning on to try to get us to spend money on them instead of trying to go out and innovate and trying to try new things and see what sticks. They're leaning really hard on what worked for them and what worked for them 20 years ago. Like things just don't feel fresh and new. And I think to your point, when it comes to the Old Republic, you're right. Why don't we have an animated show? Why don't we have an updated book? Like I understand they're working on the High Republic, but we haven't had anything for Old Republic. Like not even like comics. I'm like pretty sure we haven't even seen an Old Republic comic. So like why are they they're betting so heavily on the video game?
Yeah, because we're past the point of like Kathleen's vision and oh, we need to course correct and stuff. Now it just feels like stubbornness.
Is that what it is? Yeah,
that's what it feels like at this point. Like just like the fan base. The one thing that all Star Wars fans, for the most part, the diehards can agree on is we want to see Old Republic played out in live action animation outside of me controlling it with a controller. I would love to play more, but I want to see it. And I feel like that's been pretty prevalent since they bought Star Wars.
Yeah, they want an Old Republic movie.
Yeah, and at this point, it just feels like, oh, Rian Johnson's coming back. The director who made the movie that, again, I didn't hate it as much as everybody did, but the director that made the movie that everyone talks shit about, hates, whatever, however you feel about it, is going to do a trilogy. Like, how is that supposed to excite everyone versus Revan's getting his own trilogy? Revan's getting his own television show. I don't.
People would lose it.
Exactly. I don't understand thought process. I really
I don't
don't.
either.
At this point, by this point, you should have announced something is in development or something.
We assumed they were using the Revan card, or they were going to hold on to the Revan card for a rainy day. And at this point, I feel like it's just past that prime
pouring.
time of when. Yeah, it's just like, but that's the whole thing is like you released all these Revan things. You released Revan's lightsaber. You really like for the Hasbro Black Series. You do an action figure. You put his name in these things. You showcase him in a video game trailer. Like, what are they doing? Like, why are they having such a hard time committing to getting this stuff out? But they're trickling it out. Like, I don't understand the mentality there from even just like a marketing perspective. Like when they announced they were dropping the lightsaber and they were dropping the black figure, like everybody was super excited. And then they talked about how because his name showed up in the index for the armadas, like that was another big deal. And then that was it. The internet got really quiet for like a year and a half. And then we got the video game trailer drop, and it wasn't I don't think it was as exciting that time. Like the first time, everyone was like, oh. Second time, I was like, okay, that makes sense. But like, do you think now people just don't care?
I don't want to sit here and assume that I know what they think, but it's just it's annoying at this point.
I'm really curious now. I'm really curious to see if like has Disney been polling? Have they been polling information that's showcasing that maybe we are past that prime time of the Old Republic actually having staying power?
Yet they'll keep the game alive because it's making them millions of dollars.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the game, every time they put out a piece of Star Wars content, the game's population jumps for a few months.
Because people are looking for a Star Wars game to play.
Of course.
Because people get excited and they're like, oh, Star Wars, I'm going to play a Star Wars
Mandalorian,
game.
I want to go play my bounty hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what frustrates. You know how many people would subscribe to that fucking game if they put out an Old Republic animated series?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, okay, I just watched 12 episodes of that. Now I want to go relive my own power fantasy from the game I subscribed to 8 years ago. You know, like that. Yeah. So it's just it's getting frustrating at this point, which leads into what we were talking about, the last bit of news that we're going to talk about because we got to get out of here. Apparently, Bobby C. What did you say? He's the master shit builder.
Okay, so when you not shit builder, when you go to Castaway, when you go to Castaway K,
misunderstood.
This guy has put up on a big sign that says Bob Chapek, master ship builder.
Would I be able to remove the sign and throw it in the ocean if I go?
I think that Disney police would probably escort you.
That's a risk I'm willing to accept.
You hate this guy.
I really do.
So tell us why you hate this guy even more now.
Well, apparently he's telling Kathleen Kennedy not to announce Star Wars projects being in development so soon. He does say till they're set in stone. That I agree with. But his next line is to avoid further negative press. So what that tells me is that it's surrounding the franchise and the company. So what that tells me is he is heavy into mitigation mode. Mm-hmm. It furthers my point that at this point he knows he's ruined so much, but he's making a ton of money for the company. His only goal is to be the most profitable CEO in the history of Disney, stay for a few more years, and then get out and leave someone with a hunk of a mess to clean up.
Oh my God.
And he can live off the fact, he said, what are you talking about? I made Disney billions. I don't, why was I a bad
Kevin,
CEO?
Why would you say that? God, that sounds like a terrible future for Disney.
Disney's not on a good trajectory right now. The only thing that I'm like Yahoo with Disney is Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Marvel, and like 65% of Star Wars. Because I think they make a ton of poor choices when it comes to Star Wars that they don't do with Marvel. And I think that has a lot to do with Kevin Feige versus Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
I am not a Kathleen Kennedy stan. I have defended her in certain situations, but I am not this huge fan. And dude, if Willow falls short, and then also Indiana Jones 5 is crap, especially after Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
She's been with she's like
she's a George Lucas person.
She was the right hand of George. Like there are pictures of her on the set with him for Indiana Jones. And so it's like, why are we need to get rid of the old guard. Let some new blood in there. And you know, like we all thought Dave was gonna be the guy who's just gonna just go with it.
He's next in line. He's just
right,
she's
exactly.
Gotta
But
retire.
we assumed that she was just gonna peace out, but you know, she's keeping
I
her
think
feet
her
in the sand.
ego. Well, I think her ego won't let her peace out. I think she wants to leave on a high note. And it's like we've given her all of the resources to leave on a high note. And
She should have pieced out after Obi-Wan. Would have been
No,
perfect.
because even that was a mixed bag.
What do you mean? It was so good.
It was great for us, but there was people that hated it.
Holy shit.
And you're never going to make everyone happy, don't get me wrong. But she couldn't leave after episode 9 because she finished her trilogy and it was, not great.
Mm-hmm.
So, when she should have pieced out was after Mandalorian season 1. She'd be like, thank you.
Yeah.
Dave, take the reins.
Yeah.
But if you put Dave in charge, Dave and John, whatever combination, and gave them the power that Kevin Feige has. And that's why I brought in DC doing it with James Gunn. Like, DC made an amazing choice.
Yeah. You need that person for Star Wars, and you don't have
Yeah.
it. You're right. You do. We do have it. It's Dave Filoni and the Filoni-verse, but it's just he doesn't have full reign yet.
I just think Bob hates nice things.
He does. He does. He loves money, and he hates happiness. So, bitch.
I hope Walt Disney's ghost haunts his ass every night.
Hope Mickey Mouse comes after you.
I wish Mickey was more aggressive like he was in South Park with Bob. That would be so helpful right now.
Oh, Bob, you're really messing this one up.
You're fucking it up, dude. You ever see the TikToks of the people staying at the Disney resorts and they pretend to hear Mickey and Minnie in the next room or Donald
people
and
do like
Goofy?
voiceovers. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the one where Mickey and Minnie were having like tantric sex? That one was hysterical.
Your FYP is interesting, Kevin.
Yeah, it's travel, comedy, dark comedy, and lore videos.
Nice.
That's pretty much it. Before we get out of here, the artwork for Celebration for next year was revealed. It's kind of got like a Peter Pan over London Death Star, but all the ships from Star Wars vibe. That's what I'm getting. How are you feeling about it?
That is interesting. I'm now gonna have to pull it up, Kevin, because I didn't have that open.
Oh, it's on the show notes.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, I like it.
I don't know if I'd like frame it and put it in my house, but it's still pretty cool.
There it is. No, I like it. I like that kind of artwork. That's neat. And yeah, I mean, it's not for me, but I mean, like, I like it. I moved it. I'm messing things up. Oh my gosh. Are you looking at the show notes?
Oh, I'm watching you stretch it and manipulate it.
Anyways, yeah, no, it's cool. I'm leaving it alone. I wanted to see more of it because it was like all cut off and we had just like a little sample. I was like, oh, I could blow it up and see the whole thing. Our show notes are in a Google Doc. Oops. Sorry, Paul.
You're just making it huge now.
I'm not even
That's what she
touching
said.
it now. I'm not even touching it. Paul's touching it.
That's what she said.
Whatever. Anyways,
Take us home.
that's all you got?
That's it.
You just wanted to talk about the poster?
That was
That's
it.
how you
I
want
just
to end the
wanted-
show?
Yeah, it's a nice poster.
Okay, yes. Okay. All right. Well, you
Don't
know
you
what,
think
Kevin?
so?
I know. It's a great poster. You know what? I'm going to get you that poster.
Okay.
I'm going to get you that poster. Oh, man. You're going to love your birthday / Christmas present. I'm just saying. Got it.
All right.
Anyways.
All right.
Thanks
Did
so
you
much
read
for watching. What?
Did you read the Star Wars yet?
Read the Star Wars?
That's the graphic novel I got you.
No, I have not read the Star Wars yet. I looked through it. I thumbed through all the pictures and I was like, oh, this is so cool. When I find time to sit down and read it, I will. I promise.
I'd say over Christmas break, but you work
What is a Christmas
the
break?
same amount.
What is
Exactly.
that?
Thanksgiving?
Anyway, what is it? Yeah, I mean, like one day off. Sick.
Do it while you're outside smoking. I was told
Okay.
that I can't. My roasted turkey is too good, so I'm not allowed to smoke the turkey
No, why?
by multiple family members. Because apparently I make too good roasted turkey, so I can't.
Oh,
smoke
I was
it.
told that I'm only allowed to do smoked turkey from now on.
So whatever leftovers I have and whatever you have,
Oh, we
we're
should
gonna
do like a turkey
trade.
swap.
We're gonna trade. But I'm thinking I'm gonna talk to you off air. But I'm thinking of smoking something as well.
Okay. Yeah. Sick. Then
I don't
maybe
wanna do a
should-
brisket
then maybe
'cause I
I
don't wanna
should
get up
put
to 2
something in
a.m.
the oven as well.
Okay, I like where this is going.
All right. Thanks so much for watching episode 104 of Star Wars and Scotch. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to talk Star Wars with you, Kevin, as always. If you want to follow Kevin and what he does on the internet, you can follow him over at KMagic101 over on Twitter, or you're Kevin X Vision on Twitter. Kevin X Vision on Twitter, and then on Instagram, he's KMagic101. He's he's Kevin Murray over on Facebook. If you want to follow his page, he talks in my chat. Apparently, he doesn't poop. So check him out. You can just go to raredrop.co. You can check out everything that we do there. We've got podcasts. We've got our agency. We've got a lot of really cool things, some GCX stuff on there. So go check it out, raredrop.co. And then you can follow me over on Facebook if you haven't yet, fb.gg/darkness429. I'm Darkness429 everywhere, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. If you want to check out the stuff, awesome. We've been playing through the Batman Gotham Knights game. The single player is fantastic. A little bit of Overwatch comp in the afternoons. And then we got Call of Duty coming up on Friday. So it's going to be some NP.
When this episode drops, if you go to Tim's channel or my Twitch channel, you can if you get it right away, you could probably see us wrapping up playing Gotham Knights.
Yeah, they're probably going to be like watching. They're going to be listening to this like later. So I'm going to tell you now, Kevin, I had a blast playing Gotham Knights with you today. So thanks for playing.
We didn't play. Oh, yeah, no, that was awesome. When you jumped and hit that guy, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, but if you want to check out other live streams that Kevin's been doing over on his Twitch page, you can head over to twitch.tv/KMagic101. We've been doing. No, is that wrong?
RD
Kevin X Vision now?
Kevin underscore.
God damn it. Why is there underscores now? All right, give him the
link. I'm trying to get rid of
it?
the last. I'm trying to get
twitch.tv/RD_Kevin
underscore. I'm trying to get rid of the second underscore.
Oh, man, that's like me. I had an underscore in my name on Twitch for a while.
Yeah. And the service was better back then, so.
Anyways, well, that's going to do it for us. We're wrapping this one up. Thanks so much for listening. And as always, Kevin.
May the Force be with you!
And you.